Hey everybody. All right. I'm just getting our stuff all pulled up here. Boom. Here is our presentation for today. Then we got this. Participants rolling in here. Cool. Good to see you guys. Eric, Dennis, a lot of familiar faces in here. Let's see here. Let's go chat. Pull up the chat. All right. Change this to everyone. All right, I think we're getting just about set up here. Um, Pretty cool, like literally just minutes ago. Um, Anthropic has basically released its first version of Mythos. I don't know if you guys are following that. Um, we basically saw Mythos. They made all of these like crazy um, kind of like news articles that it was too powerful, that they did too good of a job, that they can't release it to the public. So they've created a model called Fable. Fable 5 just dropped like literally minutes ago. I was already using it literally a few minutes before our meeting started. But if you guys are in the Anthropic ecosystem, aka Claude, then you will now see there's like Opus 4.8, but now there's Fable. Fable is literally like we could call this breaking news right now. But for the first time ever, Mythos is being released. Mythos is supposedly like something otherworldly in terms of models. I'm not aware of ChatGPT having anything remotely close to what Mythos is going to be capable of, but they have basically dumbed down Mythos and they now call it Fable. If you guys aren't following the news about this stuff, essentially Mythos is such a good coding agent that it can basically hack anything, including the financial system that we all live and operate within. So, therefore, they said we cannot release this to the public. It's too powerful. The whole financial system will collapse. People with bad intentions are going to hack the banks, and we can't release this. So basically, what they've done now is I just used it for the first time, and it said, "Hey, if there's any cybersecurity related prompts that you're putting in here, they said that they will automatically switch you back to Opus 4.8. So they will not allow you to use Mythos for any cybersecurity related, hacking or whatnot. Will people probably be able to get around it? Who knows? Probably. But it just came out minutes ago. So if you guys are in the Claude or Anthropic ecosystem, definitely go try it out. We'll see the benchmarks in the next couple days on how smart it actually is in comparison. Anthropic's already leading the charts as far as the most powerful AI model out there, with Opus 4.8 being more powerful than ChatGPT. And this Fable or Mythos preview, as you could call it, is only going to lengthen their lead. And if we have enough time at the end of this, we'll probably go dive into some news articles because I'm sure they're coming out. I was trying to pull up a couple right before jumping on here, and everything is like within the last like 30 minutes, within the last hour. There's a bunch of news coming out. So. Yeah, Fable 5 is what they named it. I don't know why they don't start these things as like one. They have to start them at fives, but whatever. All right. So, today marks, what is this? We have 267 people registered for the session today, and today marks my 34th week of doing these webinars. So thank you guys all for your support and thank you for coming. I'm gonna kind of start out here just with some thoughts. Um, Contracts Connected obviously is our my main project. We are basically moving at like breakneck speed, and we're growing so fast, and we have some really big partnerships coming out later this year. And that I do this more for fun than anything. I do this to kind of be involved with the community. However, um, I don't know. If you guys are seeing value from this, if you want me to continue doing these, I want to hear from you guys, really. I had set this up to do 40 weeks, and I committed to doing 40 weeks, and I was going to make the decision of if I was going to keep doing that after the 40th week. So we're at week 34, and I'm thinking about maybe kind of like doing these educational things in different forms, like more online or whatever. I like being able to get in here and show people real ways to use things. But yeah, if you want to see these things stick around, let me know. Otherwise, Contracts Connected, we're developing some really cool AI agents and stuff, and the company could definitely benefit from me putting my brain power over to over to building out like the first ever agentic employee, that runs the full back office. Because I spend quite a bit of time, creating the curriculums, researching topics, building these slide decks, writing the emails to announce this stuff, writing the LinkedIn post. There's a lot of work that goes behind each one of these. And I just want to, kind of survey the crowd. Thank you for saying that you look forward to these and you enjoy these. So that definitely helps because a lot of times, and I'm going to get to the lesson right now. I just wanted to put that out here, but a lot of times I'm talking to myself in here for an hour and nobody's really interacting. Although I know people are listening because people will message me after. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. We have some really intense development and some really experimental things happening with AI over on Contracts Connected, and we have some real construction companies now adopting this stuff. And I'm really involved in that, and I'm actually even spending time in the construction offices for the people that want to kind of be on that forefront of incorporating real agents into their work. So, yeah, would love to hear from you guys. Otherwise, let's dive into it today. And if I get through things today quick enough, I will switch gears and we'll go talk about Fable 5, and we'll go like kind of scour the web for what's going on with that because it's literally developing as we speak right now. So let's talk about this AI coworker for construction idea. I'm going to focus on back office here, but you're going to be able to apply what I talk about here to any area, any position. I just talk about the back office because that's what I'm building personally, and that's what I have actually running inside of a few construction companies experimentally right now. What I've built is pretty pretty in depth in terms of like what their capabilities are and how smart they are and what they think through and their thought process. What I'm going to be talking through today is more like, oh, I have this admin task, I want to kind of automate it, or how do I automate more of my our admin stuff that produces low value for the organization, but it's just that kind of necessary evil to run the company. Um, and one thing that I'll kind of mention, if you guys are like, where do I start? I have all this admin work that I could do. I think AI can do this. I think AI can do that. I'm going to give you guys what I tell people to do in terms of being able to figure out where to start. Go create a spreadsheet, write down all of the different tasks that AI can do in one column, and the next column, write 1 through 5. How much value does that drive to your organization? How much, you guys know what's kind of like mundane, copy and paste grunt work versus what's value driving in your organizations. 1 through 5 on that, and then do a 1 through 5 in the next column over. So you have 3 columns here. 1 through 5, how much time does this take? And you'll very clearly be able to see things that take a lot of time and produce little to no, value for the organization. They're just, redundancy filing away or stuff like that. So those would be the things that I start with. And if you guys are like, I don't even know where to start, I don't know what to program first, what should I start with? Low value producing activities that take a lot of time. That's the goal. All right, so let's jump into today. I'm going to talk about back office kind of specifically today. We have two AI agents running right now. We have Wendy, and we have Scout. Both of these AI agents are fully operating email inboxes on their own. They have logins to different, project management solutions. They have logins to Contracts Connected. They have logins to whatever they are supposed to have access to get their work done. They have view only access in some cases, and they have, permission gated access in other cases, which means, I want my agent to be aware of all these things, but I don't want them to be able to click or change things or, mess things up in our account. View only access is what we've given those agents, Scout and Wendy, that are operating in the construction world right now. And then we have, the permission gated, which is just, you're just thinking about it like you got a new employee and you're going to give them access to some stuff, but you're not going to give them admin access because you don't want them to go change your contract templates and contracts connected, right? You don't want them going and deleting clauses they're not supposed to do. So therefore, you just give this agent those same types of restrictions to protect yourself. Alrighty. So construction backed offices are, they're heavily bogged down by chasing this paperwork. And I think, or I know at this point, it's not a think anymore. Like 40, 35 weeks ago when I started these webinars, it was like, I think we can do this. We're doing it now. And that's a fact. And AI agents can move beyond these chatbots to proactively manage, process, this stuff, and it frees your team for the high value work. All of the companies that I've built agents for so far in this like world of having an AI coworker uh, has not they're not reducing their headcount. That's not the goal usually from these companies. What I find is like usually, hey, we can have Sarah instead of, checking certified payrolls and following up on those things or collecting COIs and tracking expiration dates. She can be helping win new business. She can be, helping move projects along quicker. She can be tracking stuff that provides realer, like better value to the organization rather than just like checks and balances on if a document is expired. So that kind of stuff is, the things that pe I'm seeing these organizations, once they have these AI agents up and running fully, they're basically taking those employees and they're putting them in the place for high value work instead of whatever drudgery they're currently doing. All right, so from asking AI to assigning AI. So just for anybody that's, not been here a lot, we have a lot of new faces on today's webinar. But chatbots answer questions, agents run it processes. Then we have, the industry now has AI that does, not just talks. And I'm really excited to get off this webinar and go play with Fable 5 because I think that we're going to see a level of intelligence that we have not seen before. Major software vendors like Procore are integrating AI agents. I'm going to come back to this one in just a second. The mindset shifts to give AI this job, not ask AI this question. Work evolves from typing prompts to assigning tasks. Alrighty, so let's talk about this in a little bit more detail. I don't think that the construction industry or any industry is really truly ready for agentic autonomy. And what I mean by that is I don't think that the construction industry is going to completely 180 switch and say, we're fully ready for AI to be our contract administrator and we trust it. It's going to go do what it's going to do and it's going to make the right decisions. I trust it. That's just not the case, right? Um, Um, so basically, what happens here is, and Dennis, thanks for your question. I'm going to answer it at the end of this slide. Basically, what I think is, and what I'm building, and what we have working for these construction companies right now in the real world on real projects, federal projects even, is there needs to be this transition phase, this middle ground, this collaboration space between your agents and your people. And I think that a lot of people are missing this and they're not thinking about it correctly. They're like, the agent should do everything. The agent should be able to do this. The agent should be able to free up my time. The agent should be able to do this job. But without some sort of collaborative space, there's no transparency, there's no checks and balances, there's no trust, and trust can be only earned over time. Especially in construction, we're not going to see one day everyone wakes up and they all of a sudden trust it. AI is going to have to earn this trust over time. And how are we going to earn that with our agents that are working in this construction company right now? The way that I have this established is this agent logs into Contracts Connected, does all of the grunt work, does all the copy and pasting, does all the reading of the contract, does all of the, chasing and the emailing and the blah, blah, blah. And then it basically puts this contract package together and it's physically cannot send it. It's gated. It's restricted. It is not allowed to send it until the proper people in the organization hit approve. Then we're tracking in Contracts Connected, who had approved it at what time. And then once it's approved, the agent gets an email notification to their inbox and they are ready to go and they can send things out, right? And they're using our system. It's feature gated, it's regulated, it's tracked, it's collaborative because these agents are going to be operating in their own web browsers on their own machines. You're not going to see what they have. And if you want to go look at the logs of what it clicked on and what it did every day, go be my guest. It's going to look like a whole foreign language, and there's going to be so much like just junk and gibberish. And like they do bash commands, which they have to go read their source files and read their MD documents, and then they have to go analyze it or do research on the web to understand what it needs to click on, and it needs to process screenshots of the screen. Like all of that stuff's just so much noise, and it's impossible for even like myself to want to go in there and really audit what it did every day. And I don't want to trust it yet to self audit itself and give me what it did every day. I want a system that is bulletproof, that has the proper checks and balances in place, that has the proper controls in place, that gives me the proper approvals, that gives me the proper logs on what it clicked and what it did. And that is what's going to be my source of truth for what this AI employee is doing in my organization. So that is a different philosophy than you're seeing most people take. The other thing with our AI agents is our AI agents are logging in with user credentials. So let's take Procore, for example. First off, Procore labels themselves as having agents now with the data grid acquisition. What is an agent? An agent goes and does work for you, right? That's this whole thing that we're talking about today. With Procore, it's like giving you insights, reading RFIs, submittals, doing a little bit of like analysis in the background, and then it's spitting that text out into something else. How is that an agent? What work does that get done for you? And like, frankly, I've been a little like, I just roll my eyes when I see all these companies talking about agents. No. Like you're basically just having like a little analysis done and it's spitting things out. It's not doing work for you. It's not emailing the vendor for the fourth time on the COI that expired, last week and they want to come on site this week. It doesn't have that context. It's not self-aware. It doesn't have its checks and balances. It doesn't actually go do the clicks, move the needle, get the work done, and eliminate grunt work. It doesn't. Like, I mean, these people call these things agents, and I don't think that they are. So, basically, like you can call them agents. It's just like such a loose term. It's so new, right? There's not a lot of definition. But the key thing here is agents that do things, not just talk. And in order for, I think, construction to make this transition, first we saw construction start to trust chat, right? But we saw the limitations around chatbots. Now we're entering this world of agents. 2026 is the world of agents. And in order to trust it, we need to spend a lot of time in collaborative environments, seeing it, watching it work, and then you understand what its limitations are, right? Just like you did with chat, and now you lean on chat. So it's the same thing, but in order to do and feel that same feeling, you need that collaborative software in the middle that is where the agent logs into and your physical employees log into, and they collaborate and they see each other's work and they build that trust. Only then I think will construction or any industry really be ready to have the agent, fully doing its own thing. I don't even need to see it log into anything. We don't even need a software. Like that's a while away. So that's just how I'm thinking about that. That's how I'm building we have one called Wendy, we have one called Scout. They're operating in real construction companies right now. They're doing clicks, they're checking inboxes, they're operating inside contracts connected. And these things are going to be continuing to work for them and doing more and more each day. All right, so I wanted to just talk to Dennis's question here. So Dennis said, fully understand your need to focus on high value time and energy investment, but these webinars are so valuable to us, but we're moving so much slower than you are. I have connected several people to these, and I know everyone out there receives great value, maybe every other week instead of one or once a month. Dennis, thanks for those insights, and thanks for recommending this to your network. It means a lot. And we've seen it grow quite a bit. I mean, 270-ish people here. So it feels great. I just sometimes don't hear from you guys. So I'm like, can I just keep talking to myself for hours at a time? So let's keep going here. Thanks, Dennis. The anatomy of an AI coworker. So I'm going to talk about the anatomy, and then I'm going to talk about the different methods in which you guys can kind of like t dip your toes in the water if you're not going to go full AI development like me, full nerd. All right, so trigger, you have to understand that every AI agent needs a trigger. So this is basically what turns the agent on. You have to have an on button for these agents. My agents that are operating in these construction companies operate off timing triggers, or we call them loops, or you could call them cron jobs. I mean, there's a lot of words, but basically, I tell mine during the hours of 9 to 5, you're to check your email inbox and your XYZ logins every 30 minutes for any state changes. So if you get a new email, you need to process it. If you see something move in contracts connected, you need to process it. If you see something move in Procore, you need to process it. So the trigger is arguably the most important. It tells it when to wake up. I have it run every 30 minutes during business hours, and then I have it run every 2 hours after business hours. All right. Then you need to tell the agent, what it needs to take into context. Context and memory are going to be the most important piece here. So it needs to go reread its instructions or reread its company information on top of what it's processing. So if it gets a new email, you need to understand, okay, what are our SOPs around that? So companies that have really good SOPs documented that are up to date, I see do really well in this world because you're just loading the SOPs in at the end of the day. All right. Apply rules. Information is checked against your predefined compliance standards and requirements. So again, it's rereading those things and then it's following the SOPs. Act and record. So this is one thing that you might not think of right away, but it's something to keep in mind as you guys kind of want to experiment with these things. True agents don't have memory by default. True agents are not chat. So your ChatGPT, your Claude, whatever it is, they are basically like the things you use on the web automatically have a ton of information saved in your chat history and they're on the web, right? Agents are operating in a little bit different of a way. They're not really on the web because now you can give them access to certain things on your machine, your server. They can go open their own web browser. They can process things. So, for efficiency, even, you don't want it to all be on the web. But agents need to record their interactions, their decisions, what they learn as they research. So, for example, I had an agent and I was demoing it for a general contractor, and I had Wendy setting up a project in Contracts Connected. I said, here's the project name and here's the prime contract. There you go. And then it was like, well, who's the owner? And I was like, UCSD. And Wendy, the AI agent basically emails me back and says, well, you said this was a private project and your private templates don't incorporate Davis Bacon wage and weekly certified payrolls. And you just said that the owner was UCSD. Are you sure that that's right? Or should I go change this project information? So she was actually able to go do that research, but when she does that research, I have her pre-programmed to record that into her MD documents. So whatever agents you're building on, whatever framework, whether it's in ChatGPT, which is more consumer friendly for the record, Claude, which is gives you more control, but a little less user friendly, you kind of need to instruct it on when to remember things, when to retain things. So that way it doesn't need to go re-research every single time. And you also want it to know, did you set up that project? Did I set up that project? How do you go, update, a project number in the system? Like all of that stuff, once it learns it, you want it to record. So act, then record. It's something that I see people try to go build agents for, and they're like, just do this. And you're like, well, it needs a record of everything it's done, and it's going to learn from that record. So, yeah. I'm gonna go to the Q&A. I second Dennis. So much value here, Zach. Thank you. Thanks for the kind words. Eric said, how do you create a framework for people to share what they're actually working on? I think so much of what is happening is bringing awareness and getting ideas from others. I totally agree, Eric. I created the school community, and the goal with that was to get people to kind of just join. I've thought about creating a software that's almost like a little like AI project sharing thing for construction. The problem is like everybody in construction's so freaking busy that unless you build the community or you build where people are already, meaning like, okay, a lot of people probably hear about this from LinkedIn. Is the second that I try to get the community to go interact with like school.com, they just forget about it, right? They're already on LinkedIn doing other things and like networking and whatever you do on LinkedIn these days, but they're already on LinkedIn. So like if there was a way to create like a group or a community within LinkedIn, that could probably be beneficial. The other thing that I thought is like, okay, yeah, LinkedIn is a professional place, but pretty much everyone that has a LinkedIn has a Facebook. And if you're logging into LinkedIn, you've probably logged into Facebook once in a while. Facebook groups could be a good way for like construction focused projects. So I would be open to maybe doing something like that. But I mean, like we have quite a bit of people involved in these webinars, and I would love to keep the community going, even if I don't keep doing them every single week, and maybe I switch to every other week. All right, I'm gonna keep going. Whoa. So admin work to automate first. So I put some ideas here. And again, that spreadsheet idea that I mentioned to you guys at the beginning of this webinar is how I would approach it if I was to come into your company and say, I'm going to be your consultant. What do you want to work on first? Here's the metric on how we decide what we work on first. It's the admin process, the value creation, and the time suck to do it. So what we've basically automated with these agents is, COIs. That's a huge one. The Accord 25 and all the endorsements. I don't know almost any. I've worked with a lot of construction companies now, and I don't know any that actually read the entire COI front to back, check everything, and then read every endorsement front to back, like that the verbiage is even correct. So imagine having an employee that continuously improves and remembers and actually reads the entire freaking thing and then perfectly logs it. So that's what we have built inside Contracts Connected happening automatically, but I've also seen some people build some cool agents around this. Certified payroll, again, another thing that we have. You don't even need the AI agent to do this, but certified payroll, validating the WH-347s against prevailing wage and daily reports, which I've seen basically GCs say, hey, does it match prevailing wage? Yes. Okay, we're good. But very rarely do I see GCs wanting to dive into the daily reports and compare them against it. It's something an AI agent can do. Let it do it and then be more accurate and like cover your butt more. Submittals, cross-check against specifications, identify any gaps, vendor onboarding. So this is another just like you need a W-9 and business license or whatever you guys want to collect, a point of contact form, an ACH form, whatever it is, let it go get collected automatically and tracked, and it will be relentless and it will never stop following up until it gets that document, right? You can even arm these agents with phone call capabilities if you so choose. Closeout, continuously assemble the closeout package throughout the project lifecycle. Also, like pay applications, even to the owner, go bundle up all of the weekly certified payrolls, all of the invoices, all of these things, and then be able to like get those up to the owner, for example. There's repetitive processes that take a lot of clicks. So if I was to come in again after we have our Excel sheet dialed in for your organization, we're going to start small with one specific task. So although some of your spreadsheet items might say process vendor invoices or process material invoices, that's like technically one admin task. That task might have like four different softwares that it has to log into and three different people that need to approve it over email or whatever it is. So while it might sound like one task, it's actually pretty complex. And what I would say is start small. You could still attack the like process material invoices as your first kind of workflow to attack, but focus on step one. What's step one of processing material invoices? Downloading it and then, entering it into these three places and filing it away. Let's get that dialed in because these agents, when you unlock true agent coworker like level productivity, you need to think that the possibilities of where this agent can click and type are endless, literally infinite. It's like a human. It can use a computer. It can use the web browser. So you're basically like teaching it for the first time, and it's very smart, right? It's going to probably get things right pretty often. But if you build it in these like steps, and you build these steps out, and you're like, okay, after step one, fire material invoice processing. Step two. And if you catch it breaking anywhere, it's very easy to go update that step rather than update the entire process or try to figure out where it went wrong. Where did it think wrong? Because the less it has to think and the less it has to process, the less context it needs to use, the less likely it is going to be making mistakes. And if you can have it broken down like that, life will be good. You will make a lot of progress very fast. And sometimes you need to, go slow to go fast. And then you're gonna kind of ladder it up from there. So progress from these like kind of, I'm already talking like it's doing things, but if you want to really protect yourself, you can give it read-only login permissions to whatever accounts that you guys are operating within. And then you could change it from read-only to careful execution, then full automation. So this is what I was talking about earlier with that kind of that ladder. You do not need code to be building this stuff right now. I'm doing things at like this this like nerd level, but what I'm accomplishing arguably could be accomplished with something like Claude Cowork. If you really programmed schedules and loops and like it would probably be a little bit more complex to do it compared to like what I'm building, but you can do this just with voice prompting. That's really the key. You can get admin work done just by voice prompting Claude Cowork to build out these schedules and go give this stuff. You just need to make sure that it has access. The main thing, and this is what I spend a good amount of time doing lately, is watching and verifying. This agent, I usually have these agents like literally I've like we probably have four of them running right now at all times independent from what I use on my computer and what I've built out for myself, these four like construction company operating employees, I'm watching and auditing them multiple times a day because I want to basically catch them. They don't make assumptions. So sometimes they're on standby for the developer, myself, or something to basically give them those green lights. They're always programmed to come up with three possible solutions for any problems that it runs into to make my life easier. And I just pick one, two, or three with some notes. But you want to watch it. Do not trust it right out of the gate. Watch it before you confidently just let it loose. So Just something to remember. And then human in the loop. So my agents are operating in the email inbox because where does construction already operate? They operate in email. Everybody's used to using email, so why would I make them go adopt some other blah 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 to operate their business? This is an employee. It's writing like an employee. It's signing off its email signature like an employee. Just communicate and tell me what you need over email. I have my job responsibilities. I have my daily checklist. I have what I already operate and process. But if you need something in relation to that, email me. I'll get it back to you real quick. So that as well as how do I basically get this agent to not do things that we don't want it to do? In my case, I build it into Contracts Connected for any back office processes so it cannot do things without a human approving the critical items. It can make suggestions, it can coach the people that it's working with, but it does not act without proper approvals. And Contracts Connected is what allows for that gating. Rachel's Q&A here. These webinars have been beneficial and really help us to understand the ways that we can implement AI into our workflows. Completely understand switching to biweekly though. Would love to see a LinkedIn group where we can share ways we are implementing AI. Yeah, I'm actually going to look into that, Rachel. Some sort of community or group. I don't think the school platform that I have, it's really nice because it allows me to create courses and put my webinars on there in a really structured way. But it's not where people live every day, and LinkedIn is. So the math and org chart of one. So one person with agents can achieve the output of five admin staff. Administrative headcount no longer needs to scale directly with project volume. Savings directly impact profit margins, not just time efficiency. Jobs improve, focusing on judgment and strategy over data entry. Early adopters will gain a significant competitive advantage by next year. So I'm already seeing this like competitive advantage even inside of my Contracts Connected team compared to other startups, especially in the construction space. We're just moving so fast and we're getting so much done that it feels like it just feels unfair, to be honest. Like it feels like we have an unfair advantage. Things are easier, things move faster, things don't fall through the cracks, things are getting followed up on, things are getting like moved along. It's just a other world in terms of productivity. And then we're still finding ways to increase our productivity. And one thing that I'll say with the construction industry wanting to recruit young talent, two of these GCs that I'm working with are really focused on recruiting young talent. This young talent does not want to be doing the copy and paste work that these agents already can do, and they know that the agents can do. It's not fulfilling to them. They're going to take the company that's like really forward thinking here, and they're going to go innovate over there. They're going to go be an A player over there with other A players that are really leaning into this technology. That's just the feedback that I've gotten from the two companies that I have talked to. And they're like, yeah, we want to recruit the young people right out of college that are just, really great A player talent. And they also saw this AI strategy not just as a way to boost productivity and profit, but also, nobody's going to be doing the jobs that everybody hates. And the young talent coming out of college is not, signing up to fill out a Word document template for the rest of their lives. They think they're coming out of college with a little bit more uh, purpose, I guess you could say, in their day to day. So there's some takeaways here, but I wanted to basically talk about some questions that I get quite often when I'm talking to, and you might get these questions from your team as you try to incorporate this stuff as well. So security is ensured when you build in human in the loop designs and audit trails. So you can tell an AI agent, like in Claude or something, like do not act further than this without me approving it. Sometimes those are fragile, I'll be honest. So you need to make sure that whatever human in the loop you have is a true human in the loop. If you're building in Claude Cowork or ChatGPT, you can actually put the permissions to be able to not act unless you click yes. Is that 1000% perfect? I can't say for sure. But what is 1000% perfect is what we have at Contracts Connected in the form of you cannot click send unless Zach had logged in with Zach's login and clicked approve. Like the software does not let you send it. And something that's different from Contracts Connected to like, let's say Procore. Procore's agents are in Procore's code. They're in the code base. They're inside there, right? Like in and they have access that you probably have no visibility on. Our agents log in via a user login. So if you permission gate them, you better believe like they're permission gated. It doesn't have access to our the inside of our code base. It's seeing what you're seeing because to get its job done, it just needs to see what you see. Why does it need to be in this code base? It doesn't. It can work a little bit better. We have some features that work like that when we're analyzing documents and stuff. But essentially, like if it all it needs to do its job is what's in the user interface. Otherwise, the software is not doing its job, right? So that's just a different way to think about it. And this is a way that not many people are thinking out there, but I think it's going to be that like transition phase that construction is going to go through eventually. You do not need developers. You know, agents can be built by voice coding these things. Again, if you want the easy way, go over to ChatGPT. If you want the powerful way, go over to Claude. That's basically how you can make your decision. Offers immediate benefits beyond vendor-specific solutions. Again, you know, this agent, the way that you can build this thing, the way that I'm building these other ones, it's not limited to contracts connected. You can go give it a Procore login. You can go give it whatever. And imagine giving somebody a Procore login, and then the next morning, when you come in, that employee, that new hire, went and watched every single help video that Procore had ever released, read every single help document that Procore had ever released, and logged in and clicked on every single button within its login and understood what they all did, and then retained it perfectly. That's what we have. That's the power that we have here with these agents. And it's just otherworldly. Utilize enterprise grade tools to meet federal data and security requirements. That's obvious if you guys are under CMMC type 2 or type 3. Um, Provide dramatic time savings by eliminating entire categories of manual work. So we've basically, at one of the companies that I work with, they no longer have a contracts administrator, period. They they don't have that role anymore. She's now, I think she went over to project management, and she's like much happy. Like that's what she wanted to do anyway. But they do not have a contract administrator. It's the AI agent. So that's an entire position that is now opened up to value driving activities rather than the work that contract administrators have to do. Start with COIs, you know, do your read only, and then go from there. All right. I wanted to talk about Fable as well here. I have time for Q&A as I put in the agenda. I can also show you guys inside of Claude how to get started. Also in ChatGPT, how to get started with building these agents. If you guys have not experienced with uh, ChatGPT agents or Claude Cowork, I did a full webinar sharing my screen on those and going through those. That's available on the contractsconnected.com YouTube if you want to watch the full video, but I'm happy to go through a little bit of it today if you guys want to see it. Eric asks, what tools are people actually using and what are they building or trying to build? All right. So basically, the tools to build these agents from like a consumer base. So I'm talking non-developer, assuming that the crowd here is majority not developers, is ChatGPT and Claude Cowork. Claude Cowork is the more powerful option in my opinion. It can do more, and I've done multiple webinars on Claude Cowork now, but Claude Cowork is probably where the needle is moving the most. ChatGPT is going to help you move faster. It's a little bit more consumer friendly. It probably connects to just about the same amount of things, but it I find that they do cut out some control um, by it's just the trade-off. They cut out control, it's more user friendly. There's less buttons, there's less places to get lost, there's less frustration, there's less connecting. ChatGPT does a good job of being for the consumer. Anthropic and Claude do a good job of opening it up for people to really dive in and move the needle in creative ways. What are they actually building? I am obviously heavy in the back office automation space. What I see today is admin tasks, right? So you need to think about what are the things in the organization that are 100% computer based. And you usually hear them say it's a workflow. So processing material invoices. We have to take it, we get it in an email, and then we gotta like re save it to our desktop. I rename it, and then I go like create this folder structure that didn't exist. So I copy this old folder structure, but then I just rename it and I put the project number, the vendor's name, and then I drag it into that folder. And then after I drag it in that folder, I open up my accounting system and I look here, look there, copy paste, look here, look there, copy paste. Okay, the vendor matches. Does their address match? Do I have their ACH information? I don't. All right, well, now I'm going to go add on my tracker. I need to go get their ACH information. Then I go get their form for the ACH and I email it to them. Like, that's the kind of stuff that's just like, oh my God, AI can do that. And that's the kind of stuff that's just like, these processes over the years have gotten so complex and there's so many steps to enter the data in so many places so the reports can generate the correct way in so many places. That's the stuff that can be automated. And when it's automated, arguably, it's more accurate. It doesn't get missed. It's perfectly done. No one gets lazy. We don't be like, oh, we're so busy. I'm just cranking through 3,000 emails. I just got back from being on paid time off for a week and I'm just gonna file this stuff away later. I just gotta process it, process it, process it. I'll go do the back filing on the server later. That never happens, right? Because we're never not busy. So it arguably can make that stuff run a lot cleaner. Naming structures be a lot better, more established, more just you could just rely on it more, you know. So that's the kind of stuff that I would see people coming to me and automating most of the time. The agents that we have built are doing the entire job of the contract administrator, like front to back, period. Like we're working with these construction companies every single day. We're tweaking them, we're adding improvements, we're adding capabilities to them. But as things come up, it's like, all right, well, the contract administrator needs to be able to do this, needs to be able to go, this is our first prevailing wage job. All right, we're going to send this agent off, and this agent's now going to become an expert on prevailing wage, become an expert on, you know, how it works, become an expert on the certified payrolls and any clauses that might need to change in the contract, it can recommend it to you. So it literally, you can send it off and increase its capabilities by having it read all of what's available online and then fact checking itself and then challenging its assumptions and then coming back to you saying, all right, well, I've now, you know, leveled up and I now have the ability to do anything regarding prevailing wage. Do you need any help with that, or do you want me to just build it into the next contract package? Like that is basically it. And then keep in mind it would get approval from those things. So the capability and how fast it can learn and how quickly it can become an expert and retain the information it finds through its research is pretty mind blowing, actually. Um, all right, I have a request here to go through some Fable stuff as well, but I'm gonna keep the Q&A open as well. So I did a quick Google search here on Fable 5. This was right before the webinar, and you can already see there's a ton of new stuff here. All right. So this was just 42 minutes ago, and we've been on the webinar 51 minutes. So, and I saw it right before, so I saw it before they even announced it. But all right, so they actually have the stats out here for Fable. All right, so we have agentic coding, knowledge work. So this is basically going to be the smartest AI out there. It kind of blows away ChatGPT 5.5. This is why I've been become like more and more a user of Claude. I used to be nonstop uh, ChatGPT, and probably the first 15 weeks of these webinars was me focusing on ChatGPT, but Claude really pushed ahead starting in January, really. So you can see here they don't have a ton of stuff benchmarked for Mythos, but they do have 4.8, and 4.8 does outpace GPT 5.5. So we have spatial reasoning. This is going to matter a lot. Oh, wow. This is going to matter a lot and be a game changer for you guys in construction if you're trying to process blueprints or drawings. Spatial reasoning is where it really falls apart because it's trying to break this stuff into Markdown and create paragraphs of text, where this is going to be able to retain that spatial movement. Tool use is basically, I mean, this is an incremental improvement, but still ChatGPT is far behind. Tool use is just when you tell the AI agent, hey, I need you to go use the web browser and go log into Procore. That is it using a tool called Playwright to open a web browser. So those are tools. It's like using little tools in its tool belt to get something done. Computer use, it looks like Mythos might be slightly better. Legal, this is just like contract language. Multidisciplinary reasoning. So humanities last exam is actually a benchmark. Exam. This is a benchmark that we benchmark AIs against. And you can basically come in here and see what it asks it. But they basically put all of the different models through this. And these basically you can read a little bit about it and like how it works. But it's almost like an IQ test for AI models, let's say. So it basically tests multidisciplinary reasoning. It's basically an IQ test. So you have no tools with tools, no tools with tools. So tools allow it to go do research, allow it to go look other things up. No tools is it just has to operate on its model and what it's trained on. So this would give you a hint into, what it has available in its brain without having to do any additional research. Biology, they've been pushing really hard on these AI models to work in biology. Think about curing cancer with AI, helping you find the cure. That's really what they're leveraging and looking at here for the biology. Agentic coding and cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is probably like what Mythos is most famous for. As I mentioned in the beginning of this, it's able to think so creatively, and this goes for its creativity across everything, finding solutions for you guys when it comes to, processing those invoices faster or RFI response or whatever it is. This is creativity in general, in my opinion, but it's so creative that it will find vulnerabilities that are only accessible if you like combine three of them together, right? So it's like, oh, I tried this, I tried door number one, I tried door number two, I tried door number three, they're all locked. But if I turned door number three's doorknob halfway, and then I simultaneously like kicked on door number two. Door number one becomes unlocked, and then I can go through door number one, and then from the back unlock door number two and door number three. That's how it's thinking. It's like it's able to put these like different combinations and creativity together, and it's able to think longer, and it's able to glue things together to give better results. So that's where I've seen it, and when I've been reading about this stuff with the cybersecurity, it's been telling me a lot of information that gets into that stuff. And then health. Obviously, we all are like literally tracking ourselves. You know, you see people wearing Aura rings and Apple Watches, and even your phone is logging how many steps you're taking per day. All of this stuff is also being incorporated into some sort of health benchmark to better understand trends and better understand, you know, what leads to certain diseases or what leads to cancer actually, or you know, how to stay fit, how to stay healthy. So we've seen them invest heavily into that because, you know, as we see with Apple Watches, as we see with Aura Ring and that industry growing, and you have like beds that cool and push water through the mattress now and measure your sleep and how much you're moving and stuff like that. We're seeing that industry grow, so they obviously want to be a part of that, and that's what they're testing here. So yeah, Mythos preview was what we thought we were going to get, but you have Mythos, they're calling it Fable 5. So you could see that basically in all worlds, it just way better than ChatGPT. Usually you see like an incremental change here, like 2 percentage points. It might win in other cases, but like I knew when they did anything with Mythos that it was just going to completely blow OpenAI away. And I don't think OpenAI, truthfully, I'm probably wrong, but I have not seen anything that hints that they have anything remotely close to Fable 5. I think they're trying to train something once Mythos was leaked, but I don't expect it in the coming days. Um, if they had it, they would probably release it within the next 1 or 2 days, if they have it, but I don't think they have it. So, yeah, it's good for us because they're just like killing each other with all of these features, and we get to benefit. And then my agents get smarter. So I'm gonna go upgrade all of these AI agents that are working for me and working for these construction companies to Fable 5 right now because they're all using Opus 4.8 as their brain. And I think Fable 5 is going to be a massive, massive improvement. Um, I mean, these numbers are substantially bigger and better. So that brings us basically to the 11 o'clock hour here on the West Coast in southern sunny California. Um, if you guys want to interact with me in any way, shape, or form, you can find me on LinkedIn, message me there. I'm responsive. Um, Thank you guys for all the kind words that you said today in the webinar. I really appreciated all of that. It basically highly motivates me to continue doing these things. So that definitely helps because a lot of times I'm just talking to myself in here. And yeah, it was great to hear your guys' thoughts and feedback. A lot of familiar faces in here today. So go try Fable 5, go try Claude. If you haven't tried it already, go build your first agent. Tell me what you built. I want to know. I keep teaching you guys like or talking about the methodology behind it, but I want to see you guys actually build some stuff and get some value here. So Fable 5's out, breaking news. You heard it here first. I told you guys probably like 15 minutes before um, Claude even announced it that it was live. So, not to pat myself on the back or anything, but maybe I should start an AI news channel. But yeah, that's about it. And I will see you guys next week. And yeah, have a great week. Reach out to me if you need anything, if you have any questions, if you're building anything. Otherwise, take care. See you next time.